Empowerment Show aims to equip individuals with the necessary tools, knowledge, and confidence to make informed decisions and take control of their lives. It also focuses on ensuring access to essential resources and the opportunities.
Well, good evening, and thank you guys for tuning in to the Wednesday edition of the Empowerment Show on the Empowerment Network. As always, we like to start by saying we like to be grateful for something. So, yes, I get up in the morning, I take a breath, and like everybody, they should have something to be grateful for. So, this is the way we start. We usually say Ashe. So, for those who know, Ashe. This evening, I got a couple of guests with me. I have one young man. Boom. Hello, Michael. How are you, young man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Good evening,
I'm
everyone.
I'm well. And here is the pace de resistance. Hello, young lady. How are you?
Good. Me and Michael kind of twinning a little bit here. I like it with the red.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Didn't
hello.
even realize that.
Yeah. So how's everybody doing this evening? Well,
As well as can be expected. Let's put it that way.
I'll put it that
you-
I concur with that statement.
okay, yeah, Michael was having a hard time getting in, so he may not be staying too much longer. But we do have a couple of issues that I like to get over, at least go over. I guess we could start with that protest with the 7 million people that protest the King protests. How you guys feel about that?
I'll let you take it,
Ladies
Michael.
first. Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Well, listen, I think you see it in both me and Michael's eyes. Look, I appreciate people going out after the fact and protesting something that we already understood was going to be happening, which is why we worked so hard prior to. I'm just that's just not where I am with it. I want to use my power to register people, making sure we talk to people at a granular level, understanding why they do not care about voting more, so that we can connect. Because I think that's the way to do it, at the polls, instead of waiting until everyone sat out and now protesting all the bad things that we knew would happen. So that's my take.
So what do you say that we shouldn't protest?
I'm not saying anyone shouldn't do anything. I'm just saying, it, for me, I'm not there.
Okay. Well, do you think protesting I'm sorry, Michael. Protesting, do you think it brings anything about any changes? I mean, because you look at the 1960s and protesting brought a lot of things about with that, and then you have the boycott situation, and that was another form of protest. So, there are nuances to protesting. So I'm just
Mike,
wondering.
before you answer, I want to just say this. I am not knocking protesting. I think protesting is a necessary thing. It's
Mhm.
about when and what. You can't let your cousins, your sisters, your aunts sit out in a very important election and then protest afterwards. I think
Mhm.
for this particular thing, we should have been protesting anyone who didn't want to vote and making sure that they knew that how important this is. Protesting is so instrumental in civil rights, so instrumental. But there's certain things that you got to do when the time is right. So I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to let Michael come on in, because I
Come on
can't
in, Michael. Let's see
listen
what you got to
to
say about the protest.
No, I concur what she's saying, and I share in that sentiment. I think protesting is a means to a democracy, a free society. So one must always, or those who are like-minded, must protest and express their views. I think what Kira's trying to, you could clarify, is just that we've warned everybody during the 2020 election when we even protest then, and we warned you again in the 2024 election, that what's going to happen if you allow certain individual, particularly one key individual, to get into power. Yet it didn't matter. It was kind of frustrating, even though we sent you the warnings, but it shared a sentiment of rage that it didn't matter what we said or warned, that the country still is still a sexist and racist country. And when it was a prosecutor and a uh he was a convict, not a
Ellen.
convict, a felon, yeah. I mean, clearly he is a flawed candidate, but it didn't matter because they chose him over her. we're not going to go into the nuances. She only had 107 days. She was tied into Biden, et cetera, et cetera. She wiped him clean in the debate stage. She was relatable. She did everything she humanly possible. However, at the end of the day, they didn't think it would happen to them. And I think to Trump's credit, he was able to redirect the anger that you may be having for inflation, cost of living, whatever the case may be, saying it's their fault, not realizing that he was talking about everyone. Unless you're in that social economic bracket, he does not care about you. So regardless of, that's the key thing, is the fact that people, we warned you, you protested, and this is good. I'm glad the No Kings rally within the US and globally, people were just expressing themselves.
Well,
So we got to transfer that power into elections. Are you able to show up again and again to show up on the midterm elections to show that we want to change the direction of our country and the world in general?
well, all I can say to that is when you speak truth to power, we end up with some sort of action. And this is kind of what we need, is some sort of actions. But I have to ask about moving forward now. We talked about what took place with Kamala. I got you. And everybody understood what took place with that. But we got an election coming up on November 4th. We got other elections that's going to be coming up after that. What do we do? How do we get people engaged? I mean, the protest was nice. It reminded me of the Million Man March. Yeah, we got down there, rah, rah, rah. What happened afterwards? So my question is, the protest, what's going to happen afterwards? Which direction are we going to go now?
See, for me, this protest was about protesting what's happening in this administration, right? Something that we've already foreshadowed. So it's the power is in the people to do something more. And if we understand the importance of elections, if that protest was real, then that would mean that we are. I'm going to take it back. We are woke. All right. That means this is our word. I'm taking it back. They can't have it for their purposes. We should now be woke enough to say, oh my goodness, look what we did. And when I say look what we did, I said a collective, because there were almost 4 million registered Democrats that did not come out to vote in the 2024 election. 4 million registered people that just did not come out to vote. Now, what we should have been doing as Democratic people, I don't know how many Republicans didn't come out to vote. I feel like every single one of them did. But in any event, we should have been reaching out to those who did not vote, who may have voted in many other elections before, to understand what their apathy was, what their issues were, so that we can connect on a granular level with them. Because people who are going to vote, super voters like myself, I'm always going to vote. I don't need to be rallied to vote. There are a lot of people, especially when 92% of Black women voted democratically, and I think it was like 90% or high 80s of Black men did. Stop talking to me. Talk to the people who stayed home. And I think if we don't get that type of strategy together, understanding where our messages aren't hitting, understanding how we're missing the levels, the deep layers of challenges that people are facing, because some people feel like no matter who gets in office, my life isn't going to change.
That's the thing. You're right about that. There are people I engage with who say it doesn't matter, and then you have to. I feel like there are times I have to simplify the language or understanding for you to understand how your vote does matter. And I think they already know. There's some people who know what their power of the vote is, but look what the other side, opposition, is trying to do: curb your vote. They're changing I fear for the long term of democracy, changing the landscape. So one party rule. I mean, we could just go with the history of dictatorships. This is exactly what they do. And so we have to be mindful and careful of this one party rule, because the value of the vote is so precious, yet they're taking it away as much as they're trying to minute our voices.
Yes, they
Well,
are.
you say the one party. I could tell you the one party that seems to be rising up is white supremacy. They've kind of taken off the
that's
hood.
an ideology.
Yeah. That's true.
But it's
That's
an
an
effect.
ideology, not a party.
It's an effect. It's an effect right now. We see it right now.
And Kendall, if
You
I
know,
say
you.
something a little controversial, I'm sorry. I think honestly, some people see that in certain Democratic higher ups as well.
Mhm.
And I think I really I read Kamala's book 107 Days, and she does talk about how certain resemblances of either very moderate Republicans do seem to ring in certain areas of Democrats. And I think we have to wrestle with that and understand, wait a minute, where are we still exhibiting or feeling racism? Where are
Mm.
we feeling locked out, left out? You know, I haven't really seen the effort to overly ingratiate the Democratic Party into the Black community or to the Latina community. That's just my opinion. Not saying that it's across the board, but reading certain books like Jean Pierre, Corinne Jean Pierre, the one who switched her after she was Biden's secretary, she
Mhm.
left the Democratic Party and now is becoming an independent. This independent class, while slowly, it is certainly getting a little bit more traction. I don't know if it'll get more traction in my lifetime to be a real legitimate party, but I see some serious people who are ingrained in the Democratic Party now moving over there.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You're right about that. I mean, I even thought about that myself. As a, as I generally vote Democrat, but there's some issues that I have with the Democratic Party. One of the things I don't like that I see, and I can talk to Mr. Michael about it, is that when I show up to these different meetings and these politicians show up, they only show up to get our vote. And I mean, any other time, where are they? You don't see them. You don't know who they are, and unless you actually have some sort of relationship with them where you're going to see them. Other than that, you don't see them. I mean, like I don't want to call names, but I'm going to call a name like Janet Jackson. She comes to the meetings. She just recently joined these organizations. So it's like, well, what are you only doing this because you want to get our vote? So really, I'm tired of people just coming along and give us the whole bunch of propaganda and give us, excuse my friends, the BS. They give us the BS story, and we go along with it. With like we follow the breadcrumbs, and then we pull a lever to vote, and then you never see these guys again.
I'm going to defend that notion because I take issue with that when they say candidates only show up for elections. Granted, that may be the optics of it all, and you can hear that even in local elections. And when I mean local, I think of like union elections or so forth like that. In your own municipality, you only see the borough council person only during election year. But as a past elected official, yes, you would see myself in the campaign, but afterwards, there's also work to be done behind the scenes
That's true.
and building
Very true.
coalitions. So it's hard to be everywhere. So if you're
That's
in,
very true.
I'm using the example of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, you're in the state capitol doing your work from Monday through Thursday. Yes, you get home on probably on Friday. You're still dealing with constituent services. Saturday, you maybe have to do some public appearances, maybe not the appearance that you happen to be there, but also I have to make sure I'm also taking care of the family, doing laundry, et cetera, because as a legislature, even as a congressman or senator, unless you're making significant bank, you still have to do everything else as
It's
a regular person.
always
So it's hard to attend every public event or that you see. Yes, campaign season, you see them more so because they have to massage their individual schedule to meet the demands. But on a regular basis, when that person is doing the work that they need to do and comes with results, or at least express what their frustrations are because they have some, bureaucracy they have to deal with, at least you know that person's advocating. So to your point, you're only probably focusing on a few, but I'll have to say a whole part are doing the best they can with the allowable time that they have.
Okay, so let me ask you just a quick question here. So, do you think it's the voters' fault if they don't know who, let's say, their representative is, or do you think it's a representative's fault?
I, for me, I would say it could be a kind of both, but put it this way. There are those who are focusing, and you could pick any place in the USA. If I'm commuting to work, Wherever I am, I'm just commuting for work. I come home, I have to address family issues, children, the house, whatever the case may be. I'm not going to be inundated with the everyday who's my legislature unless a situation arises similar to your homeowner or renter. You're not going to know the dealings of your renters or home insurance until something happens. Then you get to know, oh, let me find my agent. Why? Because you're inundated with everyday stuff. So the only time you're going to see about a legislator or politician is through your mailer if you're interested. Sometimes you look at it, junk mail, you throw it away. Unless an issue arises you're in your home or your community, then you're going to be more proactive.
Okay,
And I
I'm
want
not.
to add to that,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I first of all, I agree with everything Michael said. And I know me, when I was running for office in a statewide race, it was 1000% exhausting. I could never keep that up through an entire year. I wouldn't be here to talk. Let's put it that way.
Well, I
Um,
was talking more on a local level because
no, no, no,
I could throw out
yeah.
names like Tara Probst. Now, for whatever reason, Tara Probst seems to be everywhere. In Harrisburg, she's at every parade, she's at every meeting. She
Okay.
seems to be all over and everywhere. And
And that
everybody
was the
knows
point.
Tara Probst.
Yeah.
Just like I can say Tamiko Patterson. Everybody knows Tamiko Patterson, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that people know her just because of who she is. I think these people actually reach out to go say, hey, this is who I am. Can I help you? Do you need any assistance? And they show
I get
up.
what you're saying.
You
And I
get
Yeah,
me?
yeah.
That's what I mean.
And
I don't, but I don't want to live there. We
No,
got
no,
some
no.
other
No, we won't
subjects.
live there. I think you're
Yeah.
right. Let's just put it this way. I think you're right. I think the people who are true public servants that go out and make sure that they show their face and do the work. Now, I don't know if Tamiko is a elected official, but
She's not.
there are different. You got to fundraise. You got to actually pass legislation if you're in the legislator, or you got to do something on council. You've got to be able to work in that, and those things are a lot. But I agree with you. You've got to spend time in your calendar making sure you show up. Showing up is so important. And I'm the person that, like, when I show up, the problem is I don't know how to be a good politician that way because they're like, get in, get out. I'm like there for hours.
Well, yeah.
I say.
So that goes to
I've
your
been
point.
with you.
Yeah, no, that's true because you need a good support staff, support to handle the stuff that you can't behind the scenes. And to your point, Miss Gray, is the fact that when you do go to public events, you need someone like after you speak and do the pictures and talk, you need someone to pull you away because you had another event to go to and give you some hot tea because your throat is sore throat. I remember you on the campaign trail. You were just on the go and you were very enthusiastic, and I still have high praises for you. So
I'm just
but
waiting for you to run again, honestly.
yeah, exactly. In
You
due
know.
time, I'm
we just have
sure.
to
But
always
I
sit back and
gotta play
re-strategize.
host because the clock is ticking, and my man said he only had a minute or two. So I like to touch a couple of other subjects. Recently, you had the Nazi chat that went on. Did you guys hear about that? The posting?
Did we?
Yeah. So what'd you think about that?
I'm gonna let Michael go first because
Go
I
ahead,
got
Mike.
a lot of choice words for that one.
I'm
You
sure.
know, there's no surprise that is there. Now, I'm not going to stain the entire Republican Party. I'm not going to stain the, like, I don't want to, you don't stain the whole party. But there are elements. Why? Because they feel like they could say they've been emboldened by their current leader. It's unfortunate that he is allowing that because he said it himself. He has people that work for him who say it, and people he wants to he puts in place, either nominated or whatever the case may be, they say it. So it does not surprise me. So when you see the chatter, like, and is that news? Because I wasn't shocked, because that's the element of certain aspects of the Republican Party. It's just some are racist. Again, unfortunately, they stain the entire party, but it's those elements, but not the entire program. Because I like to remind myself too that there's various programs and laws and policies that we all have benefited, either whether from a Republican branch or a Democratic branch. We just have to acknowledge that that happens. But to have those elements in there, it's just okay. No surprise there.
Kendall, I was disgusted. And I'm not disgusted by surprise because I understand There are
Mhm.
racist people in America. It's just a
Mhm.
real thing. And the thing that I had, what it was more disgusted about, was the tolerance from a top level of the Republican Party about that. Not that we have no tolerance for this type of behavior, but the boys will be boys, which means they said it around you. You've said it with them. You think that's banter. You think it's okay for someone to be nominated in a top level administrative position in this administration, running the country, doing public service on behalf of Me Too, and using hateful, homophobic, misogynistic, racist messages to your boys. To
Mm.
me, that's all that needs to be said. You can't tell me nothing. And now you want to tell me that it's racist to call out racism because you're going after DEI and that's illegal racism, discrimination? Stop it. Get your own people in check and understand something. I am never going to stop talking about the racists. As long as there's racism here, you're going to hear me talk about it because I shouldn't feel what you don't care to hear. So
Mm.
sorry, I was 100% disgusted. We're in 2025, and that should be condemned.
Did you say you were
It should be.
related to Jasmine Crockett or something? Because I hear all of that
Not
all over
related,
the
but I'm
place.
I'm 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 not mad at that sister. And they gerrymandered her out of her position.
Yes.
But you
See,
saw she's the woman is very smart. They made a gerrymander out of that
She not
district,
gonna
but
go. I'm
no,
with you.
you know what she ended up doing? She ended up running in the other district because you don't have to live in that district to run in
That's right.
that district. So what
That's
she
right.
did, the district that they took away from her, she just went and ran in that district anyway. So I mean, she's a hell of a woman.
Yes.
$40 billion. $40 billion went to Argentina. Now,
I thought it was 50.
no, it's 40,
Well,
40. Well,
Oh, wow.
maybe 40 billion. It's 40
it
billion the
don't even
last I
matter,
heard.
right? Once you get
It doesn't matter. But the deal is that you got $250 million to tear down the Rose Garden and build whatever you're going to build there, right? You got all of that money to do that. You got $40 billion that you can send to another country. You can buy a jet plane and for another 100 and some odd $billion. But we don't have enough money for the SNAP program. We don't have enough money for the American people. Even though it's the American people's money, it's our money, the tax money. It's
right.
our money. And we don't get an opportunity to say how we want it to be allocated.
You know what? I'm just gonna say this before you go because I know you have to go, Michael. I feel like I have another law partner when I look at my check and those taxes or federal taxes are taken out. I feel like I had to pay somebody else, which I do. You've taken my money during this government shutdown, made my communities more desperate because you didn't want to put more funds into things that people actually need for basic survival. So now they're more desperate to make your narrative about dangerousness even better, to spend more money on the National Guard to sit there and babysit street corners where they don't need to. And you're recklessly dealing my money out for your own agenda. I have a problem with that. I don't know what to do about it other than vote, but I have a problem with that.
Well, this is where I say the New Kings rally and other forms of protest comes in, but it's again, he's a con man. He's done it before, and now he's asking the Department of Justice to give him, despite what you just said, Kendall, about all the money that the country is spending on different projects and other countries, he's asking the Department of Justice to reimburse him for the court fees
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah,
Being
the
go ahead, finish up,
investigation.
Mike. I'm
So
sorry, Michael. I know, but that was hilarious, man.
I was
Okay,
like,
you
the
go.
man is milking it. But will that upset his base when healthcare goes up? Cost of living is already going up. Will they accept it? Will they change? Will they say anything? Right now, the Senate Republicans and the Republicans in the House are just lock in step. Some are drifting away, but never they're lock in step. Talk about a cult personality.
He
They,
is the grifter's grifter. Okay,
yes.
that's what he is. Okay, he's the best car salesman you got going. Did you
But
hear what he
will
said
they
about
do anything?
with the construction at the? I'm listening to him. He's at the podium, right? And he's talking about, I love the way this sounds. This sounds like money to me.
Right.
yeah, okay. We're giving trillions of dollars away over to Gaza, over to Israel and whatnot, right? And the funny thing is, our kids over here, we don't get a free education. We don't have
No.
universal health care, but they do. In
We don't even
Israel,
have
their kids, they
quality
don't pay to go
healthcare.
to school. Their kids
Right.
don't pay for medical or anything. But we do, so we're paying for them. Every year we're shelling out that money. I don't understand it. I mean, you're a civil rights lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Right? What in
Yeah.
the hell can we do about this? I mean, there's got to be something
I
illegal
wish I
about what's
know
going
I knew
on.
who to sue in this respect, but I just don't. And that's the problem. I feel very helpless because people in my communities and other communities did not stand up with me when I asked, hey, we can't have this man in, not for a direct benefit for me, but for a direct benefit for the communal good. Because this is what we're talking about. Everybody is so self-absorbed and they're not worried about what everybody else is doing until they have to worry about it. Because
Mhm.
desperation doesn't just stay in one little corner. It creeps its way into all of us. And then they have to remember the things you're talking about. When we get taxed and we have to pay for all these other things, we're paying for everybody. Everybody is paying out of a pool. And
Mm-hmm.
I am so tired of people acting like what affects one community doesn't affect mine. Uninsured motorists affects my insurance rates, right? People without
Yes.
health care affects my health care rates. When are we going to learn that this is a sum game? This is not individualized. And I think that we have gotten so far away from that that we think it's not my problem. I got mine, they need to get theirs. Guess what? It is all of our problems. So, hey, can't sue per se, but what you for this particular thing. But what we need to do is get down to civics, man. We have to break this down because while people didn't feel what Project 2025 had in store for them before it was implemented, November 1st, they will feel that. They will
Well,
have no SNAP benefits.
well, I all I could say is like I tell my kids, if you don't do politics, don't worry, politics is going to do you.
Sure
And
is.
as far as the civics is concerned, you know, they need to bring it back to school. They don't
I don't
teach
know why
civics
not.
anymore. Well, they want you to be dumb.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Say you're dumb and you're dumb. Tell you
You ra-
anything.
you raise a good point. I think we
Mhm.
we as a society have lost that sense of community. I'm not sure if it's geographic only, but we even with social media that was supposed to bring us closer, we are more far apart, and it's hard to remind people of where we come from because, like you said, if you're uninsured, it's going to affect me to those who are insured. Um, it's another thing too. I think as a Democratic Party, sometimes we do have a messaging problem.
Oh
So
yeah.
we don't connect as easily. So we need to, I know at times when I'm listening to high-ranking Democratic leaders, they tend to have a more cerebral way of talking, which I understand. And you could do that in the chambers of Congress when you're talking to other leaders and heads of state, et cetera, et cetera. But when you come on certain shows, like either the Sunday morning talk shows or you're doing a one-on-one interview on the late night shows, and when you're one-on-one in your own community, you have to simplify the message so they too, the residents and how social media captures it to take the sensible sound bites that people could learn because people have a short time span. But I think we do have a messaging problem, and I respect Senator Schumer, but there are times when he's talking, I'm like, you already lost me once you said hello. I think if he knows the issue, he could easily not delegate, yeah, delegate a responsibility to someone else to talk about the issues of certain things. I'm that's just my opinion in order to attract and to remind people the sense of community that we have.
All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna take a little break. Mike, thank you very much for
Oh, wait
coming
a minute,
on. I know
Mike.
your time is short. No, really,
No.
we really appreciate him coming on. Honestly. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I gotta pay the bills. It
All
costs
right.
me money, and
You
you
can't
know,
stay with
so
Mike.
so thanks a lot, Mike, for coming
All
on.
right, thank you, Miss
And
Gray.
we
Hopefully,
will
we'll connect again soon.
and
Yes.
we'll be back. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
All right.
All right, all right. I don't know if you had an opportunity to ever go down to IQ Lounge, but it's a cigar lounge. They're out going out towards what do you call that? The Marshalls Creek. It's a pretty cool place. They play spades. They have spade tournaments and
Ooh.
domino tournaments. They have what do they call it? Throwback Thursday and all kind of good stuff there. DJ bar. It's really cool, especially if you like cigars. It's a real cool place.
I like spades.
I hear you. I hear you. I like spades too. I want to thank Michael. I want to thank him again for coming on, Michael DeRosier, and hopefully we have him come back again. He's, as you can see, he's very articulate. He has a lot to talk about, and I'm always glad to have him around. I think he's a good brother. So, just to get back to a little bit what we were talking about, I wanted to ask you about Mr. George Santos.
Let's go.
Let's go. How? Didn't the man plead guilty? How? I don't understand it. How?
He not only pled guilty, but he pled guilty to defrauding the American public and using his position to do so. I am like, what I am seeing is pardons are not about morality. Pardons are about my friendships, who I want, who I can, and doing what I can do just because I can do it. It has nothing to do with the moral obligation for us to give people a second chance who are well deserving of that because they have proven themselves over time to be a changed individual and to have lived their lives with more meaning and more opportunity to others. That is really the premise of a pardon, right? You're not supposed to just pardon your friends just because. And I mean, look, people can say what they want. And I know that people say, hey, Hunter Biden was pardoned by Joe Biden. If that was my son, I would do the same thing. I mean, look, there's no moral high ground for him either. I mean, he pardoned his son because he's the son and he had the ability to do it. So he did it. It wasn't.
I would have did it.
I mean, and look, most of us say if that was my son, I would have did it. But quite frankly, we lose our moral ground to say, well, Trump, why are you doing this? Because if we use it just because we can, and we use it to deal with people that we like or love, to get out of the mess that they got themselves in without them having to prove themselves at any point that they have changed, then hey, now I can see if something was such a benign issue that has been made a huge deal because of politics, and you believe this was what politically motivated, and so you don't think it's right for someone to live with that scarlet letter felon on their back or a scarlet word felon on their back. But that's a huge analysis. In this situation with George Santos, there's just no good reason to give him a pardon. No good reason whatsoever.
I mean, I'm waiting for them to let R. Kelly out. I mean, since they're gonna let George Santos out, they may as well let R. Kelly out. And throw Puffy in the boot too. What the hell?
I have to correct myself, Kendall. I don't think he didn't get a pardon. He got his sentence commuted.
Right, commuted. Same difference to me. He's out of jail.
A pardon means that you can live free without the conviction, and a commutation is not necessarily that.
Don't worry, he'll live pretty good. I'm sure there's enough white supremacists out there that donate money to him and all kinds, just like they did with what was that cat that killed down in Florida, the Martin kid. What was his name?
It was George too. George.
George something. Yeah. I mean, look, come on. You think they didn't take care of him? They took care of him for years. Still taking care of him now. He went out and committed another crime and still walked away. So they're about taking care of each other. I think I wish we could do a little bit more of that and take care of each other and do the right thing. That would be a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I wish we could take care of each other in the most authentic way, right? Really, I mean, you know what, Kendall? I'm such a big history buff. I watch civil rights movies. I read civil rights books. I read how we were monolithic at one time about advancing our rights and our goals and our freedoms just to compete. I saw that. Now all I hear is we're not a monolith. We're not a monolith. And maybe we're not in terms of everything, but there are certain things we need to be monolithic about.
I say that all the time. You're absolutely correct. But what happened after the civil rights movement, we were out there, we were battling, we were doing our due. Then we got I don't know, we got jobs, if you want to say, because now we can work for the federal government. And we really became complacent as a people. And then with that emulation deal, we kind of emulated into the American society, and you got people. Well, I'm American now. I'm not just black. I'm American. Like OJ. I'm not black. I'm OJ. You know. So you
All
had
right.
people with integration to me. It's sad to say, but it made us as a people more segregated. We moved apart from each other. You know, even like now when I tell people about ancestry, they the first thing comes to their mind is slavery, and I'm like, yeah, but you know the slaves had ancestors too, right? So, you know, we gotta take it on back and learn some things. That's why I always say to you, Ashe, and you know, I learned that especially from the young ladies that you have that you hang out with all the time at the NCNW.
That's right.
Well, those ladies, they're very powerful. And a matter of fact, what I'm finding here in America is that the African American woman here is the most educated and becoming the most feared. I think that's why they like to talk down, like with Jasmine Crockett, like Kamala Harris, Obama, Miss Obama. You know, all of these different yourself that they want to talk down and keep you down. So
That's
this
right.
way they can't see the real power that you have because you guys got a lot of power, man. I see it, and you do it quietly. That's what
Mhm.
I like the most. I see things are getting done. I'm like, wow, look at that. That who did that? You see, it wasn't a lot of noise to get things done, and I wish we could do more uh, about like the Smithsonian. It's very much needed. We need to get in there. I don't think what he did was legal.
I don't
You
think
know,
so either.
I mean, you could tell
You're
me. You
citing
you know more of the
history.
law.
Right. So I think that there are issues with the way he is taking away history, freedoms of speech, because a museum is able to tell truths that actually happened in very art formed ways. And that's what those freedoms, the First Amendment protects that. I am not understanding. Look, I guess everyone has, there's so many battles to fight. Um, the fact that our history is being erased seems to be the lowest battle on the totem pole. We seem not to have that fight. I mean, immigration, they've got their lawyers, they got their people at the forefront. Um, other things have got, lawyers that are battle tested and pushing forward, especially, as it relates to map drawing, redistricting, and other things. But it seems like, excuse me, the erasure of history is something that we are not picking up at this moment. And if we allow it to happen now, let me clarify this. In Philadelphia, we are fighting for that.
Mhm.
We just had a lot of protests under the ATTAC organization, ATAC. They had put up information about Thomas Jefferson on the mall, the mall that's Independence Mall here in
Mhm.
Philadelphia. It's the federal property that had a agreement with the city to put federal in federal kind of artifacts on that property.
Mhm.
Well, what we were able to do back when it was, I think, around 2012, 2013, is tell the true story about Thomas Jefferson, the full story. Yes, he had some great moments, but he also owned slaves. He also,
200 of them.
yes. So that was up there. Now, Trump decided that for America's 250th birthday, we want that removed. And we want it removed because we don't like that history being on his kind of repertoire, right? So we went on the offense. We wrote letters. We got groups together to file lawsuits. I mean, we protested because you need a trifecta of all of it. You need legal, you need protesting, as well as you need activism, academia. You need all that. So we did push back, and they have not, at this moment, done what they said they were going to do. They said they were going to do it in September. It didn't happen. So we're trying to push back as much as we can. But there's a larger issue at play. The larger issue is the erasure, period, of
Mhm.
our heroicism, of our endurance, of the things that are happening to us or have happened to us that still exist in other ways, just kind of transformed into systems and more subtle racism. And people, our next generation of leaders are going to grow up without understanding those differences that cause these disparities in our communities amongst the different communities. And so I have a hard time with the fact that we are not fighting back like I don't know what to make sure
Mhm.
that our history is not erased.
Well, I tell you, I speak to some of the young people, and the young people tell me that they kind of really pissed off at the elders, if you want to say, and they're pissed off at the elders because they say, "Well, why are we in this situation? You allowed this to happen." As far as us not receiving education and all of the benefits that we should have, they're very angry at people like myself. I'm an elder, right? So they're kind of pissed off because they can't buy a home and they think it's my fault, yeah, because of what we didn't teach them. And
Yeah,
I like to say to all the elders, man, if you know, teach. It
that's
used
right.
to be a saying with us, each one teach one. That kind
Mhm.
of just went away. We growing up in a society now where it's very microwave, and it's very much about self. It's not even about family.
Right.
It's
And
just
it's quick
about
information. Quick
right.
information. We can't consume what like a commercial or a political candidate. The only time 30 seconds. You better get it out in 30 seconds. Well, what could
Mhm.
you possibly really understand in 30 seconds?
Not much.
That's the, that's the information gap. But Kendall, can I go back to something you were talking about? Because I think
Right
we
on. Right
skipped
on.
over something that I truly hold near and dear to me. While Black women are feared, Black women are a force, Black women are the ones catching the flu right now. There
Right.
are over 300,000 Black women who have suffered the consequences of this, of being loyal to a party, being in government, like you talked about when we had, fought and we were able to get those good jobs that provided the stability, that provided the net, if you will, so that we wouldn't have to live under so much stress. We had a stable job that we could work as well as take care of the kids and take care of the home. Those are being driven away in the hundreds of thousands. And
Right.
so when you do that to Black women, you place them in a vulnerable space. We place them in a space where they can't actively use their voice as well as they could when they had that rug underneath them, when they had the backbone. Most women and a lot of women are single household women, heads of single households. And so, if that's the case, how are they going to survive now without that one job that provided everything? Now they may have to get two jobs that provided everything. And that does not leave enough time to cultivate and truly make sure that you uh, make sure that you're there and are nurturing your children so that they can grow up and be very productive and healthy adults, emotionally intelligent. I think this is a time where we have to step up as women and as organizations and as men. We have to use all of our social capital to help these other women, but we have to start getting HR professionals so we can come together and say, what are the experiences and expertise that we have in our community? What can we cultivate and use to be entrepreneurs with those things and use it for our communities? Did I lose you, Kendall?
Oh no.
Oh,
Hey, I'm just
I
here
didn't see you.
at the moment. I'm right here. Just that I like to zoom in on you this way. You talking especially to the audience.
Oh man, thanks. I wish I would have known that because I was just on a roll with that. I am seriously trying to connect with many of our organizations. Look, we have structure. We have the D9. We have the Masons. We have the Eastern Stars. We have the Links. We have so many different organizations that we can use to tap into to lift up and uplift Black women in this moment, but also to make sure that we understand that we have a unique skill. We didn't sit there in that government and learn everything and be the person that is doing the work for nothing. They are going to feel us being gone. And if we don't understand that and use that for our own people in this moment, I don't know what else. I think there are going to be so many Black women that are going to be entrepreneurs at this time. And now I'll tell you, 10 years from now, you're going to see a difference in business owners and the types of business that are coming and the types of people that we market and target to help. I can't wait for that moment, but right now we need to cultivate that understanding and awareness that Black women are suffering because we're in our vulnerable bag. But once we get out of that through thoughtful, intentional, strategic awareness of our strengths, of our abilities, of our talents, of our expertise, of our experience, that's when we're going to see a shift.
Again, Ashe.
Had to get that plug button.
You know, I tell you, we also have organizations for young men as well. The thing I've always had a problem with is I don't like the segregation. I think we should be more in tune to family organizations that if you're gonna say the black family, okay. And I use the term black, and I can still use the term Africa. I know Africa was, just in case people don't know, I know you like history, but Africa was named after a Greek guy. His name was Africanus, and he defeated Hannibal. And at the time, they decided to name the whole continent Africa. But the original name is called Alkebulan, and that
Oh,
means the Garden of Eden. Just a little touch of history there.
thank you for that.
Well, I tell you, I like talking to my ancestors, man, and
That's
they over
right.
there. They way over there, so I have to talk to my ancestors. Yeah. But on that note, I'm gonna cut this conversation short because, like I said, I got to pay the bills. I do apologize, and it's always great to have you on.
Thank you so much, Kendall.
I like to do these little sound effects. It's kind of cool. So really, when you get an opportunity, we like you to come back on and we can chit chat a little bit more. Especially when we start talking about the black women, you seem to be very passionate about that. I can understand that.
Hopefully so.
Hey, I tell you a little funny story. I'm in a supermarket one day, and I think I had a piece of chocolate candy in my hand. So there was a woman behind me. She says, "You really, really like chocolate?" I said, "Every day when I look in the mirror."
You better know it. Kendall, listen, thank you for being such a wonderful community person, community spokesperson, and someone who's always reaching out and connecting us no matter where we are in this state. I really appreciate you.
Right on. All right, so we're gonna end this. Like I said, I'm gonna say Ashe, and here's your applause.
Ashe.
Ashe. All righty.
Bye-bye.
Take care, baby.